Fine. Welcome back, finally, to the Celeste D-Sides, the fan-made mod that makes the game that's really hard even harder for some reason. By very, very high demand, I'm tackling the 2 bonus chapters, chapters 8 and 9. But I've already talked for long enough, and I know what you're here for, so let's just get right into it. In typical D-Side fashion, the first room consists of being a tutorial for a new piece of tech that I'll have to use for the rest of the chapter, as well as chapter 9. And that piece of tech is called a lava wall bounce, which is yet another piece of tech to add to the ever-growing list of Celeste tech that I know.
See, look, first screen already done. Gonna be a piece of cake, guys.
And as we get back into the swing of things, I want to quickly point out 2 new additions since the first time I did the D-Sides. Up at the top left, at all times, there are 2 timers going. The bigger one that's at 30-something hours is the total time I've spent across all the D-Sides. And the smaller one below it is how much time I've currently spent on whatever chapter I'm on. Right now, this is the chapter 8 timer, and once we get into chapter 9, you'll see how long that timer is. In addition to the timer, I also now have a stamina bar mod, which displays how much stamina I currently have. This does not provide me with any more stamina or give me an advantage whatsoever, it just kind of lets you know whether or not I'm about to die, pretty much. Moving on into the actual level now, I'm now going to go on a 15-minute tirade about why I hate these things. The whole gimmick with chapter 8, that we're in the core of the mountain, which has a few side effects, like not being able to get your dashes back just by landing on the ground, as well as switching between fire and ice throughout the entire chapter. And these blocks adjust to that. The ice versions of them are fine. They just slowly fall and then they break. The lava versions, however, I despise. They fling you in a direction based on where you're positioned on it and when you jump off of it, which sounds really simple, but man, do I just hate the inconsistency of these things. However, at least for the first few rooms, there actually aren't really any of these. Just some simple platforming rooms based off of the fragility of the ice-themed stuff. And of course, as soon as I reach the first moderately difficult room using those lava ore blocks, it takes me a grand total of 25 minutes to give up and start using save states to practice.
I do want to be clear though. I will only be using save states for practice. I will not be using it to clear any rooms and moving on to more. I will only move on from a room if I can complete it start to finish with no help. But if you didn't know already, I can't be trusted streaming.
Get rid of that, and there we go. Welcome to Celeste, but I am the background. Alright, let's play.
Aside from that, there's actually not really much going on in Chapter 8, which isn't really that surprising if you think about it, considering the behemoth that Chapter 7 was. There are some pretty cool rising lava rooms, but overall, it's a pretty steady difficulty from beginning to end throughout the entirety of the chapter. The final room is pretty cool. It's like low gravity, so you fall a lot slower, and there's screen wrap, which is like if you fall at the bottom of the screen, then you come back at the top of the screen. And I was on the edge of my seat waiting for a troll of some kind before getting the Crystal Heart because I'm a war veteran of the D-Sides. And nothing happened.
Jeez.
So now I'm on edge.
As for some statistics, I actually had 14 less deaths than I did on Chapter 6, and I took about 4.5 hours, so again, not that bad.
But yeah, that's it for Chapter 8. We're already like halfway done. I'm gonna get out from under my desk. I don't remember why I'm even down here. I'm gonna be honest.
I have no idea why, but it really feels like I was down there for months. It's almost as if it's been literal real-life months since the last time I shot that part of the video. Anyway, let's... Hey, wait a minute, that's not Chapter 9. Okay, so apparently the Epilogue chapter, which normally only appears after you beat the summit, appears after beating the core in the D-Sides, and it's not an epilogue, it's an actual fucking level. And not only is it a level, but because it's the epilogue, my dashes are disabled. I literally can't dash in this entire level. I swear, I literally let my guard down for 1 minute in this mod, and I pay the price. In retrospect, I probably should have expected something like this, because the initial prologue at the very beginning of all of this also isn't just a prologue, but like, come on, man. I think Past Me put it best.
This is such a D-Sides thing to do. Epilogue of what, you know? That's what I want to know. Epilogue of what? Because is it really an epilogue if you're still playing? Yeah, I started playing Celeste today, but I couldn't get past that really hard level. Which level? Oh, you know, epilogue.
Anyway, since we're actually playing this, I might as well cover what's actually going on here. I do hate to admit it, especially after what I just went on about, but this mini chapter is a lot of fun. Because you can't dash, it relies almost entirely on just the stamina mechanic and climbing, which is one of my favorite parts of Celeste, just in terms of its platforming gameplay. However, just because it's fun doesn't mean I still don't have my grievances here and there.
Wait, so is this really a fake out heart? Oh, wait, because you can't dash. Right, of course. Yeah, you can't dash.
Maybe I'm just a little stupid, but how dare you put the heart in like the second room when I can't even do anything with it? With every room that passed, I kept thinking,
how long is Epilogue?
But it does use its limitations to its advantage very well, admittedly. Such as this room where I kinda had to put my knowledge of how momentum in this game works to the test, because in order to get past this, I have to jump on the moving platform, and as it's going up, I have to jump and then wall jump while jumping so I maintain my vertical momentum while also getting enough horizontal distance to clear the spikes to the right. Then in the very next room, I don't have a great history with golden feathers, but here they're actually pretty fun and not too difficult, thankfully.
We're about halfway. I'm gonna kill you.
The whole goal of the epilogue is to go in a big circle and find a way to dash into the heart that I couldn't do anything with. And eventually I do find a double dash crystal, which even though the double dash is on one-time use, it then re-enables me to just be able to dash again. That has been disabled this whole time. I also found a key, and there's definitely like a secret of some kind besides car, but I kind of gave up searching pretty quick. And to be honest, I don't really play the D-Sides for the secrets too much. I just kind of do it for the main platter of difficulty per se. So I decided to skip it.
I don't really care about the secret. That's just... I knew that was gonna happen, but I just wanted to try it anyway. Alright. Epilogue D-Side. Let's go.
Okay. After all of that, we can actually get into Chapter 9, the main thing that everyone's here for. I mean, you've seen the length of the video. I cannot understate Chapter 9 is a lot. In every Celeste chapter, sometimes when you're playing, you'll find a little like mountain symbol on the wall, and there's multiple per chapter. These are the major checkpoints. Each checkpoint is normally named, and you can go to it from the map, and you can kind of continue from that point. In the Chapter 9, and actually all of the chapters D-Sides are no different. They each have checkpoints, and they're all named. However, Chapter 9 has more than the average, but it provides a great framework for me to cover it, because I can kind of break it up section by section, instead of it being just a long slog at the end. Okay, let's begin Final Goodbye, the Chapter 9 D-Side. How the fuck did I get here? Why does this keep happening? I can do this. Okay. We begin with slow, wide rooms. Not very difficult, but that's by design, because these rooms are just meant to lure you in. It's like the first piece of popcorn from a never-ending popcorn maker that won't stop making popcorn. Please stop making popcorn. This checkpoint primarily serves to reintroduce the player to having 2 dashes again. As for Chapter 8, you didn't have it most of the time. But it also starts to plant the seeds for Chapter 9 mechanics, such as the jellyfish. Yeah, I actually don't really hate this thing, it's pretty fun. It also reintroduces these blocks that react to Madeline dashing from Chapter 5. While not terribly confusing in their own way, they're apparently confusing enough for me to get stuck on the second room for 5 minutes and give up all of my hopes and dreams of ever beating this chapter, because why did I ever think it would ever happen? So then I'm just done, and that's the end of the video. Goodbye. Okay, I was just kidding. I gave up for that day. The first day. The first of many. That small taste of Chapter 9 was so traumatizing, in fact, that it took me over 3 weeks just to even try it again. Anyways, completing these first dozen or so rooms made me very grateful for deciding to not play Chapters 8 and 9 of the D-Sides immediately after beating the first 7, because in that time, I got to play many other Celeste mods, such as the entirety of the 2020 Spring collab, and I had played a decent amount of Strawberry Jam at this point as well. Both of those ginormous collab mods taught me so many skills for this game that I would not have had going into this otherwise. And so I breezed through and reached my first checkpoint in 20 minutes. If I keep on that pace, I could beat this before I hit double-digit hours of playtime.
Yeah, quote me on that. Final Goodbye will definitely take me 9 hours. For sure.
To give you a sense of perspective, the Chapter 7 D-Side, the climactic conclusion from the first video, very challenging chapter, took a lot from me. That chapter had 37 rooms. Now, many of them had multiple checkpoints within the rooms, especially towards the end, but just in room number, it had 37. Chapter 9 has over 100. And if you believe that, then you're very gullible, because it actually has over 300. So, yeah, not the shortest thing in the world. The only way to get through all those rooms is by getting through these checkpoints, though, which leads us right into checkpoint 2, Peaceful Solitude. The way is blocked with 3 key gates, requiring us to go to 3 different rooms and get 3 keys to progress. Although I do happen to find a secret which gives me another key, which will be the first of many new friends that will be accompanying me for the rest of the entire chapter. Yeah, the entire chapter. There are many bonus rooms with keys in them throughout the entire chapter because there's an optional moonberry you can collect, requiring you to get every single one of these bonus keys throughout the entire chapter. And then after that, there are even more difficult rooms that you have to do before you even can collect the berry. I decided to not do that because this is a struggle enough, man. Getting back on track though, after getting the keys and unlocking the locks, yeah, this is why people write scripts. A couple simple jellyfish rooms and we're already at the next checkpoint. Glimpse of Freedom. Besides being a flashbang to the eyes compared to the previous checkpoints, this checkpoint's got some fishy business going on about here, in that it's entirely focused on jellyfish and pufferfish sections. For those unfamiliar with base game Chapter 9, the jellyfish is very self-explanatory. It's just a parachute, makes you fall slower while you're holding it, although you can also throw it and re-grab it. Pufferfish have a certain radius around them where if you enter it, they explode and shoot you flying in whatever direction you came from, except for right above them. They don't know you're there. Combining these two elements makes for some really interesting room designs though. And towards the end, there's... no. You will not fool me again. Remember when I said I was on edge? I'm still on edge. Yeah, that's what I fucking thought. Immediately after that, I met with a heart gate.
Can you imagine it just like I was like a heart short or something? That'd be hilarious. Okay, well, I think that's a little unreasonable, personally. All right, guys. Looks like that's gonna be it for today. We've got to go play the other 100 hidden chapters.
So I see this game's still got tricks and japes up its sleeve. That's fine, it's actually pretty funny. Anyway, now we're at checkpoint 4. Oh my god, how are we on that checkpoint 4? This checkpoint serves as almost entirely a tutorial for the next checkpoint, teaching me some pretty important concepts that I'll need to know for later, like the fast bubble technique where you press dash as soon as you get one of these bubbles, and so you can go through a lot faster than you would normally otherwise. Except that I kind of already knew it because I'd been playing Strawberry Jam, but we don't need to talk about that. The structure is actually very similar to checkpoint 2, with one central room and a bunch of splitting paths, each with a key to get past a bunch of locks. Although, as I mentioned, there are so many keys spread throughout the whole chapter that I'm actually able to skip a path entirely. And in the very last room of the checkpoint, this happens.
Oh, I see that. That's a dude, I almost got trolled by that. You see that? I'll make a save state. There's a crystal in that one. You almost got me with that. You almost got me with that. Well played.
I think this probably shows the mental state that I'm at this point, that I've had to adapt to survive this mod. Moving on from that, we have our first major difficulty curve of the chapter. Checkpoint 5, Dedication. You may notice up to this point it's only taken me an hour and a half to do these first 4 checkpoints. That is not the case for this one. The first couple rooms are relatively simple, utilizing the new fast bubble technique that I had just learned in the previous checkpoint, and then the third room appears. I would like to say that it was one thing that made this room difficult, but no, the entire thing was just really precise, and it required me to have a better control of Madeline's momentum a lot more than I've had to previously. It took me 30 minutes, and I also had to get assistance from my chair. I think I might be losing it a little bit. The next room only takes me a few minutes to beat using those things. The very next room, which also took me about 30 minutes to beat, reminded me a lot of both the C-side and D-side of Chapter 7, with the one-time use pink clouds and these narrow gaps with all the spikes around. I don't know, this room did take a little bit, but I actually had a lot of fun with it. The last room of this checkpoint that I really struggled on was this one, which required timing, which is something I am not great at. All of these stars are on a cycle, and they just keep going through it the whole time, and I have to play around it, and my brain just can't comprehend that very well. But after a bit of struggle, I managed to beat it. And that officially marks the end of day 1, or I guess day 2. I was able to complete the first 5 checkpoints within the first stream, which was about like 3.5 hours, so it wasn't the worst thing ever, but, you know, it only gets worse from here. Yeah, I guess it really is only gonna get worse from here, huh? Alright, okay, it's time for checkpoint 6. Memories. In which we partake in pretending that a lot of other mechanics from previous chapters have not already come back before, but now pretty much all of them are back. Zip lines from Chapter 1, core blocks again for some reason, flower bumpers from Chapter 6, red bubbles from Chapter 5, clouds from Chapter 4 again. But by far the biggest thing that returns is wind, everyone's favorite mechanic in this game. Yay. It's at this point I should probably mention, I realize I can't cover every single room, which is why I'm not doing that. But if you are interested in seeing each and every single one of these like 300 rooms, not including the Moonberry stuff, I've created a bonus video that is my entire playthrough through 9D with almost every single death removed, with chapter markers for each and every checkpoint, all the good stuff. However, that video is nearly 3 hours long. So if you hate your free time, you can go watch that on my second channel or just linked in the description. It's up to you, man. This video is already a lot. Anyway, the difficulty curve from checkpoint 5 remains, and this whole checkpoint adds like 2.5 hours to my total time on this chapter, which is not a great sign for the rest of this. Speaking of, creation is somehow yet another one of these checkpoints that is a central room with a lot of diverging paths where you get a lot of keys to unlock a lot of locks. I honestly didn't think that there were that many of these, but apparently I just remembered everything wrong. I think I might have just like suppressed my memories from when I played this. I'm keeping that in, I don't care. I'm back to being a hater because of these things. These things are why I have problems. They're not why I have problems. Keys, oh my god, key friends, keys! Yay. Anyways, that's another hour added to my timer. Let's move on to the next checkpoint. We're now on day 3, if you're keeping track, by the way. Or care. I don't think I do anymore. I don't think Past Me did either because I got up to some shenanigans once again.
I just looked at how wide I am. Oh. I look at any face I make is hilarious. Now watch, first attempt after I change everything back. Forward. Put me back. Put me back. Help. I'm just jumping.
This is quite the long checkpoint too, so I'm not exactly sure what to highlight here, although Oshiro is back, so that's cool. He lost the mansion in the divorce. There's a little mini tutorial section for learning how to bubble hyper, which is something that I'm not really going to explain, and I'm just going to show you this right here. This is me doing a bubble hyper. Alright, cool. Moving on.
Are you fucking kidding me? Last time I checked, there's not snow in space.
Snowball semantics aside, this room is pretty difficult and takes me a solid chunk of time to beat. And, oh, okay. Well, I guess I'm fighting Sans now. Yeah, sure. That may as well happen at this point.
I can't... Bro, what the fuck is that? What the fuck is this?
And immediately upon my return, I'm met with a room that uses nothing but core blocks, and it takes me another 30 minutes to beat it.
I don't know if I can do this anymore, man. I don't know. The final room of this checkpoint has actually some pretty cool dash tricks, including like a chain bunny hop and like a mini ultra. And yes, those are real words that I'm saying, and those are real tricks in this game. I like at what point is this considered self-harm? I don't know. I don't feel like I have the conviction to get through to the end, you know? But I'm so far. I can't give up now, right? I don't know. I don't really know what to do. What is the next checkpoint name, anyway? Oh. Okay, well, yeah, that's pretty fitting, isn't it? It's dark. And then it's darker. And yet darker still. It's pretty hard to play the game when you can barely see. Eventually these big black bars appear that come in waves over the screen, making it actually 100% impossible to see. But hey, we reached double digits. This checkpoint is the most unique in the whole mod. You have zero visual reference, just a voice to follow, a helpful hand when you need it most. Following their instructions always works, even when they wait to tell you information sometimes. The darkness clears, but mine hasn't. I can't let all this work go to waste. Even if it won't be perfect, it'll still be something I made. And maybe that's enough. Yeah, let's get back to it, shall we? This checkpoint is simple, a nice change of pace. It's not easy, but it's not too hard either. I even found myself enjoying a core block room. At the end of the checkpoint, I get a little confused on where to go in this room, but I eventually realize that I need to go in this top left glitchy spot, and we get to see a conversation between Madeline and Madeline.
Oh dear God. Okay. Well, I'm out.
Okay, but for real, this checkpoint is another turning point of the entire chapter. It's by far the largest section of the entire thing, consisting of 5 checkpoints. For the sake of time, I'm going to be trying to go through all 5 of them as quick as I can, but as I said earlier, you can go check out the full video for every single room, because there is a lot here that I'm brushing over. Since this is mirroring Chapter 7, it actually starts with a Chapter 6 section, which is pretty simple. It's got those Kevin blocks. Those guys are cool. All of these rooms are relatively easy. In the Chapter 1 section...
That first area done? Yep. Wow. That was disrespectful. Game's like, oh, you thought you made progress? Just kidding. That was downright disrespectful, I'm not gonna lie. That was so rude.
At first I thought I was getting disrespected, and maybe I am, but at the time I didn't notice that it doesn't say meters, it says LY, light years. And I'm told that this can actually be converted distance-wise, and it's actually accurate. I don't know if that's actually true or not, but you can double check for yourselves. My favorite room of this section has gotta be this one with all the zip lines, and you just figure out when you need to jump off of and let go of them with all the spikes surrounding you. It's pretty cool. Reaching the chapter 2 themed section, we've actually reached checkpoint 2 of this whole thing. I might need to start using some different words for this because this is getting confusing. Favorite room here is probably the very last one with the 900 battle-ins that you have to activate before you're allowed to proceed, and with the unique uses of the dream block. Favorite chapter 3 themed room, this one with all the fuzzy things and bubbles. It's very cool. Lots of timing, but you can kind of choose your own speed. I like it. And we're to the next major checkpoint now. The chapter 4 themed section kind of kicks my ass, but my favorite room would probably be this one with the high wind and just few stone blocks that you have to jump off of. I never thought I would say that a wind room would be my favorite, but here we are. The chapter 5 themed section kind of traumatized me because it was a looping puzzle that was really difficult already with the rooms, and I also played it while really sleep deprived, and I'm just gonna move on from it. Okay, checkpoint 515, that's the number there. The peak of the mountain in space. Yeah, this makes sense. And what's that? A flag number? Okay, now 75, that's a lot. That is a lot, but that's an end in sight. Imagine the chapter 7 D-Side, but if it was even harder. That's basically what this is. However, it actually gets cut off between flag 59 and 58. Weird spot to do that, but we reached the next checkpoint. Goodbye of the mountain. The core themed checkpoint. However, I will give it credit here. For the most part, it actually doesn't use core blocks. It relies on other Chapter 8 features, such as the conveyor belts, rising lava, the ice stuff, which is also a part of Chapter 8, so I don't have to deal with them most of the time. Eventually, I reach flag 26, and there's this incredibly long, difficult room using many core blocks, and it constantly switches between ice and fire, all while the bird helps you throughout it all, going through this madness. It's a lot. After that, I'm no longer in the core, or at least the main part of it. I'm kind of just back to free-floating, like at the end of the core. And this room works as a great example to show you the comically large number of keys that I have following me now. Before we move on, I'd just like to mention, at the beginning of the revisit checkpoint, number 11, 5 checkpoints ago, I had about 11.5 hours of playtime for 9D. Now I have almost twice that. And in one moment, going from thinking I had 25 flags left, I forgot a very crucial part of the D-Sides. Every chapter has to end with blink blocks. Although, to be honest, I'm starting to doubt if this chapter even has an ending. This checkpoint is weirdly calming and unnerving at the same time. None of the rooms are that complicated in execution, but there's just this lingering feeling of dread in the background. I do have to learn this tech called a reform boost, where I jump as the block is blinking back into existence, and I'm able to jump off of it without getting hit by the spikes that come back as well. Then,
No. Something tells me this is the hell room.
It gets a little fast, but it isn't that bad to get used to. And, I guess we're at the next checkpoint. Realization. The very first room of this checkpoint uses that reform boost tech I was talking about earlier, like 5 times in it, which is very satisfying to pull off. After beating the final room of this checkpoint, which was very difficult, combining all of the reform tech that I had been practicing up to that point, as well as blocks that are literally invisible and I can only see because of the shadow that they have, we reach the next checkpoint.
Alright. Into the final stretch.
Parting introduces the first instance of custom music in this mod, which I was not expecting, but it is a very welcome surprise. It's also nice to look at a pretty background with hearts instead of the Gygus Earthbound background, and the flags have returned. And parting might actually be, in terms of room number, the actual shortest checkpoint in the entire mod, because it's only at flag 19 that we reach the next one, plural. This checkpoint sees Madeline turning against us again, although I think it's mostly just meant to be metaphorical. But it does have this really cool dropper room, which I established in the previous video. I like ye. But that's about it for plural. And, you know, I've had a lot of doubts along this journey, playing this chapter, editing this video, but I was always just focusing on the negative. I'm having fun throughout all of this, and I've become a much better player, a much better editor, and you know, I'm happy. I'm happy with what I've created thus far, and I'm ready to see this through to the end. I'm flying through rooms like there's no tomorrow. I'm bouncing on Oshiro, I'm bouncing on eyeball monsters, I'm dashing through things, I'm running from a horde of Battlelands. I don't care what's after me, I'm beating this. And then there's this really long puzzle checkpoint that spans across multiple rooms and takes me like 2 hours. But we don't care! We're on to the next one. Oh, actually, I do end up using all of my keys for Moonberry, even though I don't have enough to get it. But now I don't have a ton of keys following me anymore. Farewell to my friends that have accompanied me throughout my journey, for I have reached the point of no return. No more flags, we're back to jellyfishes and pufferfish, the birds helping us and Battlelands helping us, and everything is lining up to be exactly like the original Chapter 9 ending. Farewell music and all. But by this point I've improved so much, and I appear to be on some kind of roll or something, because I breeze through these rooms at lightning speed and reach the next checkpoint in about 15 minutes. Very cheekily named Mostly Absolute Certainty. These rooms are much the same as the previous checkpoint, relying heavily on jellyfish and pufferfish just as the original Chapter 9 did. Until the music fades, and the blink block music starts to play. But by this point, I know better. I know I'm probably not done until I get booted back to the menu.
Real heart, whoa. It didn't even do the fake animation, it just literally disappeared before my eyes.
And just like the chapter, this checkpoint's named Bottomless. Golden feathers aren't a problem anymore. Bunny hops aren't a problem anymore. This chapter's not a problem anymore. And so it changes the rules of the game. A massive wall of fire appears behind me, and my dashes are removed again, like in the Epilogue chapter. But I am a Geometry Dash pro. I haven't played in like 7 years. And I'm running till I can't even catch my breath. Step by step. Screen by screen. Pixel by pixel, if necessary. Chapter 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. I've come this far. Who's to say I can't go any farther? Final checkpoint. The final checkpoint consists of one gargantuan 20-minute marathon of a room. Let's begin. Every single dash trick that I've learned up to this point I have to use in this room. Bouncing off of pufferfish, surprisingly precise jellyfish throws, and floating with the jellyfish for many long wind sections, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. I'm playing the footage that you're seeing right now at 10 times speed, just for you to understand how absolutely unnecessarily long this room is. And this is just the first section of the room. After a lot of work, I finally get an attempt that gets to the power box, dashing into it and breaking it, disabling the electricity grid. Now, if you remember all the way back at the beginning of this video, I mentioned I would use save states to practice rooms to be able to beat them quicker, and I have been doing that this whole time. However, specifically for this room, I was advised to, and I also just wanted to not use save states after disabling this box. So every single attempt I would get to this point, I would be completely blind to anything after. And here's how my first attempt went.
Okay, well let me make sure that that block is not all the way down. There we go. So sad. I'm so sad. Just kidding, I'm alive!
Never had a doubt in my mind that I was gonna live. Anyway, as you may have gathered by now, this path is actually very similar to getting the Moonberry in the original Chapter 9. This whole path is inaccessible while the electricity grid is up, but once you get rid of it, then you're required to go through it. It's oddly funny how easy this actual section is, just that you have a mountain of stress on your back because if you die then you have to do the entire thing over again. Not to mention with how open it is, it's actually really hard to tell where I need to go in some spots.
Where am I going with this? Where am I going? What? Oh wait, no, I should be able to go down and right. That should work too. No, it shouldn't. Oh my god, wait. What? What the fuck is this? Oh my god, you're trolling. Where am I going? What's happening? I'm so scared. Where am I going? What's happening? Right now? Over here? Yay? No? I made a bad choice. I feel like I made a bad decision. No, I made a good decision.
I'm then met with another heart, and for one brief moment, I consider the possibility that it's real. And technically, at one point it was, because this was the ending of 9D. But then the mod got updated, so then there's even more. After going through tons of fake hearts and a fake floor, I'm brought to the final section of the final room.
So go there, get flung, dash, jump, dash, spring, dash right onto that, and grab on that. Okay, and we have our next checkpoint. Oh my god, wait, there's so much, because this is all like chapter 1 shit. And that's gonna be chapter 2. Oh my fucking god, I'm nowhere near done. This is gonna be the chapter 2 section, and there's gonna be the chapter 3 section, There's gonna be the chapter 4 section. Oh no, there's, okay, just random core block. Okay, core block, cool. I love core blocks, they're my favorite things in this game, so I'm so glad that there's more. This doesn't end, actually. It's a never-ending level. Fun fact, actually does not end. Okay. So... okay. Alright. Sure.
And this room still continues to surprise me with new things.
Oh. You're fucking kidding me, dude. Not the visibility! Why are you bringing this shit back?
Just gotta keep pushing forward. Pushing and pushing and pushing my way through this endless nightmare until I'm finally at the last pair of binoculars. This final little gap between the ending. However, my vision becomes completely obscured, so I have to memorize my inputs on how to get over there. And I only have one try, or I go all the way back.
I'm going for it, I don't care. What? What's happening? Oh! Ah! It's oddly peaceful. Until you learn how to truly trust someone. I still don't trust you. Oh, I didn't mean... oh, I can't dash. I don't know if there's still ways to die, and I don't believe... it looks like I went to a new screen. Not the core block. Ugh, not the core block. Oh, not the invisible ones. I had no knowledge if I had gotten a checkpoint yet, okay? Dude, oh my fucking god.
In a moment where I thought I lost everything, I instead received confirmation of my victory. I did it. After everything, I finally did it. It's done. Also, I wanted to read out the full poem that you saw bits and pieces of, not only for its thematic relevance, but I think there could be someone out there that needs to hear it. Eternal peaceful solitude, eternal deafening screams, our only hope, a single glimpse of freedom, curiosity, forbidden by oneself, turning into absolute, unrelenting dedication, haunting memories, sparking the creation of something truly beautiful. After years and years of exploration, depression always present, until you learn how to truly trust someone, you can sink into serenity until you're ready to revisit the world once again, heart beating after being beaten, quiet but steady, always there with you, realization after realization, until you are ready, parting with the endless darkness, and you will find true love, past the point of no return, with almost absolute certainty, forever falling in the bottomless abyss of your own complexity and beauty. And so, let ourselves reunify, and let this be our final goodbye. I finally did it. Now I can finally go do my favorite pastime.